So we got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and that was a great re-release of 3 games: Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3 on modern platforms, because keeping in mind that all 3 of those games came out on the PS3, Xbox 360 generation. So to have those games be re-released with the new coat of paint, playing really well, and a lot of people having fun with it, and introducing more people to the Mass Effect franchise, I thought was a great thing, considering that Mass Effect Andromeda was not particularly great, and that came out in 2016, I want to say. So I was kind of waiting and thinking to myself, at some point, we're gonna see, hopefully, a Dragon Age trilogy, or maybe just a duology of Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 released for the modern day. Until we get this news here, BioWare apparently wanted to make a Mass Effect style remaster collection for Dragon Age, but EA's not too keen on it, saying, in a quote, "It's strange for a publicly traded company to basically be against free money." And that is a very strange statement. So basically, ex-exec Mark Darrah says there was an interest at the studio for a Dragon Age Legendary Edition. That's an interesting name. After Mass Effect Legendary Edition reminded everyone of how good BioWare RPGs could be, seemed inevitable there was going to be another collection, and I certainly felt that way. However, folks at studio were apparently had the same idea of going for a Dragon Age trilogy, but it was the publisher EA that wasn't fully on board, according to the franchise's former boss. So, speaking to Mr. Maddie Plays, which is a YouTube channel that I know of but don't really watch myself, BioWare veteran and former Dragon Age executive producer Mike Darrah spoke about the possibility of a collection that included and maybe even revamped versions of Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, and Dragon Age Inquisition. And I think out of all 3 of these games, I think Inquisition was actually the most positively received of the 3, if I remember correctly. So it seems insane that Veilguard just seemingly has kind of hurt the franchise so badly that it may never get another release again. Anyway, so for some reason according to Mark Darrah, and I'm going to put a little something here in the quote, EA's historically been, and I don't know why they've even said this publicly, kind of against remasters. Now, and then he says, it's strange for a publicly traded company to be against free money, but seems to be a great part of it. So, basically, I do not agree with the statement of EA being against free money, because EA has released remasters, remakes before, and I'm not going to differentiate between remasters and remakes for the sake of brevity in this conversation, just because I want to keep things simple and to the point as much as I can. But basically, we've had stuff like Dead Space, a re-release of Dead Space. We have had a re-release of what's it called? Burnout Paradise. That was another one. We've had the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We've had re-releases from EA before. Hell, we're getting a re-release of Plants vs. Zombies on modern platforms, despite the fact that they removed that game from sale on the PS Vita, and I really wanted to platinum that game again on Vita, but unfortunately wasn't able to grab a copy, which kind of sucks, so it is what it is. But with that being said, EA is remastering games. They are re-releasing older titles. I just don't see why. Hell, they'll even reboot titles at times, like with Mirror's Edge, for example, because it does seem like more of the same game, just a bit more story added on. But at the end of the day, something about this quote here of EA's historically been, and I don't know why, but they've even said this publicly, kind of against remasters, doesn't really add up when there's so many games that have been remastered, that have been remade. Whether or not we want to look at the different, and if we want to look at softer reboots, for example, the Battlefront games, Battlefront 2, obviously I don't think we're going to be getting a Battlefront 3 at all anytime soon, or much in any way, shape, or form. But either way, these things do exist, and so I feel like there's something more going on there than meets the eye, and maybe I'm looking at things from a more skeptical point of view, but I feel like we all have every reason to kind of be skeptical at the same time as well. So yeah, and also in Dara's words, Dragon Age is harder than Mass Effect to do, to some degree unknowingly harder, maybe only a little bit, maybe a lot harder. So I guess he's talking in maybes because at this point we don't really know, because they've not been able to kind of tackle that project just yet. And Mass Effect 1 to 3 was relatively all the same, because when I say all the same, they could have been all on the same engine quite easily, because again, they were all in the same generation. They released relatively close to each other, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, what was it, like 2009, 2011, and 2006 or 7? So like a couple years apart per game, but to get an entire trilogy out within a single console generation would currently seemingly is, you know, an insane thing to see. So for it to have been done back then and for the games to be of as higher quality would be insane. That being said, and it seems like, at least from this Mark Dara quote here, that they tried to find a middle ground. So basically what he said was, let's do Frostbite tools, and then let's find a mod house that seems talented and pay them to do a remake of Dragon Age Origins. There were lots of pitches around, Dara recalls. A remaster, you can kind of get Dragon Age 2 for free, a remake you don't. So the idea was that, hey, if they're not going to take the trilogy, how about we just do Origins? But if we're going to remaster Origins, might as well, you know, throw Dragon Age 2 in there for free, considering that Dragon Age Inquisition did in fact come out on the PS4 and Xbox One generation, I think in 2014. It definitely wasn't 2013, because that's when the consoles came out, and that's when the original launch lineup happened. So I think it's probably fair to assume 2014 is roughly when Inquisition came out. And according to him again, EA's stance was probably, sure, go ahead and do it, but do it with the money you already have. And it's like, well, we can't do it with money that we already have, because we're doing all these other things. So again, is it really a lack of resources? Is it really that somehow EA doesn't agree with a Dragon Age collection? Who the hell knows? But at the end of the day, as long as we know that you're winning, as long as you're not playing Dragon Age the Veilguard, which, to be completely honest, was given away for free as part of PlayStation Plus, and will probably be the only reason why I even platinum the game to begin with. But since I have every game in the franchise, might as well try and tackle all of these and just earn platinums across the board for myself personally. But with all that being said though, let me know what you guys think about the story. Are you interested in Dragon Age? And if you are you interested in the re-release of a Dragon Age trilogy, or even just a duology with 1 and 2? Oh, sorry, Origins and 2, I should say. Because it'll be interesting to see how all of this kind of, you know, shapes up. Will we ever get this in the future? Who the hell knows? But with all that being said though, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. With all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.